Right, so guys, welcome to our second podcast. Today is our financial podcast, something that I have limited zero knowledge on. So the only thing that I know about finances is doing my taxes every year and saving some money and having my little annuity thingies going. That's about what I know. But I know from a from a small business perspective, I've just been talking social media, so that's why social media is stuck in my mind. From a small business perspective, a lot of people have questions, especially now during COVID-19 and during the lockdown for businesses and how financial things actually impact their lives. So I have two people on the line here today that are going to chat some finances to us. So I'm so glad you guys are here to lead the conversation. And it's not me. But we've got Ronel and we've got Rene, the two R's in the house today. Ronel, please introduce yourself.
Hello, Melissa. Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to be here. So, yes, my name is Ronel Jooste. I have a financial consulting company called FinanciallyFit Group, and I focus on financial consulting for businesses as well as training, both on the business and the personal finances side. And then I also do employee financial wellness programs.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Okay, it's a good person to have on board. Rene, please introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Rene. I'm a financial advisor at a company by the name of Attooh. And then I've got a passion for women. So I work very closely with women. And I've got a program on social media, This Okay with Rene, where I work with, especially, as I said, women, and stories of hope. I bring you stories of hope every single month, and that's me.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I'm definitely going to follow you. Just as a reminder, please, everyone watching, subscribe and hit that notification button so you can get our notifications of any future broadcasts or vodcasts or vlogs that we do. And I'll also put the contact details of both Ronel and Rene in the description if you want to get in touch with them, ask them even more questions. So guys, your predictions on the impact of this lockdown on small businesses, on the regular 1 to 2 bed operations. What are your opinions?
Ronel, praat jy maar eers?
Okay. Yeah, Melissa, I think it's a very difficult one. It's obviously not a known situation. It's very different from where you are coming out of a December period. That's maybe a quiet period for your business, but maybe Jan and Feb is still quiet, but then it will pick up in March. This is really kind of something that we don't know what's going to happen. And it probably depends on whether they are going to lift the lockdown period now at the end of this month. That can also be quite a big factor. But I think it will definitely differ from business to business. It also, I think, depends on how financially stable the business was going into this period and how well they could have coped financially with what happened during this period. But I think the biggest thing will be kind of how quickly business will turn back to kind of normal after this. And I think it also depends on your clients, how severely your clients were impacted during this period, because that will also have an impact on you. And yeah, but I really think it's very unpredictable. We cannot really say for sure it will have this impact on any business.
Got it. Rene, your opinion on it?
I think it's a very exciting time. It's a time of change. A time of all of us sitting down in our businesses and personal lives and embrace the change. It's a time of, I think, looking for new opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities out there at the moment, and a time to really take the time to restructure your business and take it forward from there. Because reality is nothing is going to be the same after COVID-19, nothing at all. So yes, I think it's a very exciting time business-wise, not looking at the finance part of it, but I think it's a very, very exciting time of looking at new opportunities and going forward with that.
Got it. So I think one of the things that people are most concerned with is financial ruin at the moment. In most 1- and 2-man situations or businesses, entrepreneurs or startups, however it may be. And when I say 1- or 2-man startups, there's usually just 1 or 2 people within the business. But we've got our bigger, the medium people who have 20, 30 employees already. And those guys are stuck without being able to pay salaries. They're not being able to pay themselves even. So they also going for the UIFs and for any assistance that they might get. And I think the question on everyone's lips is, how should they have prepared for this? What should they have done to mitigate that financial ruin? Because I think a lot of people are thinking, my business is over. My business is done. If I don't have my business as it is now, if I didn't have that income for the last month, 2 months, my business is done. So what can they do to mitigate that financial ruin? Anyone who wants to go ahead.
Ronel?
I think at this point, I've also done a survey, and the biggest concern was cash flow, in terms of how are they going to cope with the cash flow, where, like you mentioned, there's either been quite a big reducing of income or no income at all, but they still have to pay the majority of their expenses. So I think that is probably the biggest thing that people need to focus on. And I think we need to probably go back to the basics, really go and dig through your expenses for the last 6 months and really have a look in depth, like in where can you have potential savings, where can you cut on your costs, and literally go through it in detail and have that kind of which are the nice to have expenses and which are the critical to survive type of expenses. And on the nice to have ones, try to cut it out completely or try to defer it to a later stage. So I would say that would almost be the first in terms of expense management, and then to critically look at your cash flow policies and your cash flow management. If you do have a lot of debtors outstanding, how quickly can you get the cash in? And I think that's almost coming back to Rene's previous point of thinking differently about your business, thinking about whatever kind of initiatives or things that you will launch now, it must have with kind of like a cash flow in mind. I want to get cash into my business as quick as possible. So it doesn't help you come up with a wonderful campaign now, but people will only pay you at the end of May or whatever. So you want to get your cash in as quick as possible at this stage.
Super. Rene, your opinion on it?
Okay. Sorry, I was stuck there for a while. Right, my thoughts would be that, and exactly what Ronel said, sometimes when I sit with a client and we go through his financial position and I take him back to his bank statement, often there's debit orders going off his bank account that he is not even aware of. He doesn't even know what that debit order is for. So I think this is a time to start at that point and say, but let me go through my bank statement. Let me see what is going off and what can I do to reduce my debit orders, for instance.
Can I ask you a question in that regard then? Like, what are the general things that you see that on people's bank statements that that don't need to have, the things that people should be cutting out?
No, it's things like extra cell phones that goes off that they don't even know about, policies that they took out over the phone that they don't even know about. There's a lot of things. There's really a lot of subscriptions, funny things on data on your cell phone, especially your cell phone, funny things that goes off accounts there. So I think it's very, very important to just go back and have a look, go back to the basics, as Ronel said, go back to the basics, check your bank statement and see what's going on there. And then another thing, if you've got synergy in your company with your employees, your employees should understand what is going on, because everybody is in the same boat. We're all struggling. Companies, individuals, everybody is struggling. So put out an incentive for your employees. Get them to help you think on ways to save money. Incentivize them. Things like if you're in an industry that's a service rendering industry, think of stuff where on social media you can get data in. So after the lockdown, you can immediately communicate with these people and market to them. If you've got a service, hairdressers, beauticians, things like that, put out vouchers, get them to buy the vouchers now, customers to buy the vouchers now and to use after lockdown. That's a way of getting cash flow in immediately. Use social media. Social media is so, so powerful, but we don't often use the social media because we're scared. And as I said earlier, life is never going to be the same again. So we have to unlock that scaredness of us and use the things that we're not used to.
I gotcha. Okay, so but I think one thing that I think a lot of people would be asking at this point is, okay, so I'm doing my social media stuff. There's a massive trend going on Facebook. We did a vlog about that yesterday of people inviting people to each other's businesses, trying to grow their following. But people are saying, I don't have any money to run any promoted campaigns. I don't have any money to create graphic design, or especially for people who don't really know social media and marketing that well. Do you guys know of any places that small businesses can contact for assistance? What are the processes in place for that? Do you know of any ways of any places or ways that people can actually apply for finance or finance assistance or financial assistance?
Marlisa, just to confirm, are you specifically referring to social media, or are you referring to kind of these relief programs for helping people with their financial side?
Specifically asking people for relief on the financial side of their business.
Yes, I think there were quite a lot of options available. Now, there's obviously, people can have a look at the payment holidays that the banks are offering. I know some of the car financing and other debt providers are also offering payment holidays. So that's definitely something that people can look into. But again, in all my talks and my blogs and everything this past month or whatever, I said to people, just whatever route you are kind of considering, just make sure that you do understand all the terms and conditions attached to it, and that you do understand the full impact, and go and do the calculations. Don't just make those decisions out of fear or because everybody is doing it and now you are also doing it. You have to look at your personal situation or your business situation, and based on your situation, make a decision to go for it or not. I think obviously the majority of these things were kind of in the form of a loan, or where there's still interest charges to it, fees attached to it. So you need to know that you will have an impact over the longer term. There might be like a short-term type of relief, but something like the payment holidays, your interest and your fees will still be capitalized. So after this 3-month or 4-month period, you will obviously start repaying a higher installment than what you are currently paying. So if your business or your personal situation allow for you to not go for one of these options, I would rather say don't do it. try to fund it in from your personal capacity or your emergency fund or whatever funds you have available. Then there were quite a lot of relief options from all different kind of funds. I think it's been quite controversial as well. A lot of people complained about the systems not working. They've stopped a lot of the application processes quite early on. I haven't really heard of many people on my side who actually got some funds there or relief. So I'm not sure kind of how accessible those funds really are. But then there's obviously the UIF options for people who have employees that they can consider. And then we also have SARS also came up. I think SARS probably came up with the best options that I've really seen in terms of the pay-as-you-earn and the provisional tax deferrals, because there's no interest or fees attached to it, and there you will be able to defer your provisional tax payments a certain percentage to a later period. So that can really...
Wait. I need to know more about this now, because that sounds like something that would be available to the majority of people, the majority of taxpayers. So if you're a business that actually pays your tax, your provisional tax is paid, or you're a small business owner with your sole proprietor tax being paid, that would be accessible to me. Can you tell me more about this?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the SARS relief specifically, obviously you need to be tax compliant. So you need to make sure that for all the taxes that you were supposed to register, that you are registered, that your tax returns have been submitted, that there are no outstanding payments, and that will go across all the different types of taxes. So basically your VAT, your provisional taxes, your pay-as-you-earn, whatever kind of taxes are applicable to you. But the other nice thing that SARS said is that if you are not currently compliant, you must just ensure that you are compliant before you submit your first return that's due. So you still have a little bit of time to make sure everything is in order. I think it's obviously also for SARS nice, because they can now get people to actually get their taxes in order. So what's happening there is for the provisional tax, there's certain dates. I can communicate that to you, or maybe I will give you a link to one of the blogs that I wrote, where the people can actually follow the calculations. That's easier than just for me to try and explain it in this setup. But there you can 35% of your first or your second payment you can defer, and that it will be due together with your third payment. So that's quite a nice big cash flow that you can obviously pay at a later stage, that you don't need to pay within this period now. And then with the pay-as-you-earn, they basically said for all the pay-as-you-earn returns that's due between April and July, you can defer 20% of your total liability every month. And you still need to pay the 80% according to the normal dates when it is due. And then those 20% that basically add up for this 4 months, you will then start paying that from August. But obviously the August return will only be due by the 7th of September. So you have now that kind of 20% per month that will obviously help your cash flow, and then you need to repay the total amount that you are deferring during these 4 months in 6 installments, equal installments from September onwards. So it will basically be from September till February next year that you will pay that full amount in 6 equal installments. So I think that to me is probably one of the best relief options that I came across. But something else that I also just want to add is also to just, people shouldn't be scared to ask for discounts on the kind of, from their normal suppliers or the expenses that they are paying. If you pay license fees or things like that, you cannot lose anything by just asking, listen, can you maybe offer me a discount for this service? I think a lot of people are at this time trying to help as much as possible.
Yes, definitely. Rene, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I would love to add something to it. I think another way of cash flow that with SARS is an awesome way of getting cash flow back into your business. Another way is maybe outstanding invoicing. Outstanding invoices, if you maybe contact those clients, offer them a discount to get your money in as soon as possible. And also, people are going to default now on payments. So offer a discount, get the money in. Alternatively, be proactive and give them payment arrangements and contracts before they start defaulting. But yeah, and even if you've got products that needs to be delivered, deliver them and carry the costs of the delivery cost. But at least get it out and get cash flow.
Oh, got it. I think one thing that comes to mind now is that separation of your personal finances from your business finances. And I think it's a very blurry line for most sole proprietors or one-man or two-man businesses. How do you, in this time, separate your business finances from your personal finances? And what impact does that have on your tax return at the end of the day?
Oh, Ronel, that's a question for you tax-wise.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is something very important, and I think especially smaller businesses really struggling with it. And I think especially people who are operating in kind of like in a sole proprietary type of setup, those lines are becoming even more blurred. So I think you need to be disciplined with it. You need to understand what relates to personal and what relates to business. I think if you sometimes look at what they put through business expenses is sometimes just shocking, and they will pay for their son's school, his rugby fees or something from the business. And now I think people first of all need to realize whether you have an accountant or whether you yourself need to try and sort out that mess at the end of the year is obviously a complete mess. So you will never be able to have accurate financial statements because it's so kind of, I don't know, just a big gemors, you will call it in Afrikaans. And I think that's first of all from an accounting point of view. Then from a tax point of view, obviously you don't want to claim things within your business that's not business related. Now, while you are still smaller, you can maybe get away with it, but just kind of pray and hope that SARS never going to select you for an audit, because they do select people from an auditing point of view from time to time. And then obviously if they discover those kind of things, they can go back to previous years, and that can really put people in a very, very negative position, especially if you are starting to become bigger and you're starting to grow. Then you don't want those kind of things to interfere. But apart from that, I think it's also in terms of for you to really be able to calculate your profitability and your profit margins and to get your costing right, you don't want to mix up those things, because you will never be able to really understand if a product or a service is profitable or not, because you don't have the correct costing attached to that product and service. So so everything will be skewed, and if you keep it separate, it will just make your life and all your calculations, your financial management, so much easier. Now, just in terms of things that what people can do to separate it, first of all, if you do it kind of in a sole prop type of scenario, make sure that you have separate bank accounts, at least one for your personal, one for your business, and then pay your business expenses. And for people who want to pay you, pay it into your business bank account. Have a proper loan between the two. So sometimes it unfortunately does happen that you need to fund from your personal point of view your business during a difficult period, but then put it through like a proper loan so that you keep track of what's going on.
Yes,
and then
that was going to be my next question. So during this time, say for instance, can I loan my business money from my own personal finances, or can I loan more finances from my business? What is the process, and how do you mean have a proper loan system in place? Can you decode that for me, please?
Yeah, so in a company kind of like in setup, if you run your business in a company setup, there you are most likely the director or the shareholder in the business. So there you will have like a normal shareholder or director's loan. Now then, obviously, whenever you fund something on behalf of the company, you will put it against your loan account. Then the company will from time to time basically repay you. Now there again, you need to have proper processes and policies in place, so that it also just doesn't kind of like add up and add up and add up, and later on you put yourself in a negative equity position within your financials, because again that will have another impact on you going forward if you want to apply for finance or anything like that. But even for, I think, like if you or a sole prop and you don't have a separate company, have at least two separate bank accounts. And when you do your, I don't know what you do, like a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet, also create loans for yourself between the two. And obviously the loans need to be in balance on both sides all the time. So those are definitely some of the things that you can consider doing to make sure that it is separate. Then also from a business point of view, become in the habit of paying yourself a fixed salary that is equal to the amount that for to cover your personal expenses or whatever. And then from a personal point of view, again, don't kind of now I need extra money for a holiday, so now I pay myself a bigger salary this month. I mean, still kind of manage your finances in a positive way from both a personal and a financial point of view, or from a business point of view.
That's great advice. Great advice. Rene, do you have anything to add to that?
No, not really. Ronel is the tax expert on that specifically. But what I would like to say is just confirm. When I do get to clients, and specifically people with small businesses, it is absolutely chaos, because they don't know what's going on in the business. They don't know profits, they don't know anything. So I think it's just very, very important for small businesses, and especially in this time, to be proactive, to have an accountant, which can do these statements every single month. They know what's going on in their businesses.
Understood. I think that brings us to the next thing. I think while people are now in lockdown, I think they're realizing the impact of their financial statements or their financial processes or management or lack thereof and the impact that has currently on their business. What can people do currently in their business before lockdown ends to put themselves in a better place? Is there an accounting system that they can start capturing the invoices on? Is there something they can join? Can they do something differently with their banking? What kind of things can they actually do?
I think Rene can go. I've been talking a lot.
Hey, I missed half of the question, but I think if I heard correctly, it was all about what can a business do after lockdown or in this time to make them better financially. Am I right?
No. So the question that we're asking is, I just want to cut it very quickly so I can just cut that out. So what can businesses do at the moment before lockdown ends to put themselves in a better position so that when they come out of lockdown, they can manage their finances better, and they can plan better for if anything like this ever happens again?
I think, again, awareness. I think it's a time, as I said previously, it's a time to reflect on what is going on in my business, what has been going on in my business, and to have a look at small little things. Like I said, your bank statements, your data that you're using, your Wi-Fi that you're using in your company. Is that, aren't you paying too much for that? Procurement. Can I save money? Can I negotiate prices with my suppliers? Bonuses for my employees. Do they understand where you are financially wise and with COVID, so that they can say, but it's fine, I'll leave my bonus for now, but at least I can see what's going on in the business and what we can do with it. Stuff like Ronel will know more about that, but your tax incentives that you can get, that you can claim on your employees, online accounting maybe, things like I spoke about the agreements. Is your insurance in place? Do I save enough on a personal basis? Most of my clients phoned me in this time and said, but can I use my income protector, for instance? Mm-hmm. And it is as if nobody heard while their clients with you for the past 10, 20 years, odd years, that is actually a sickness benefit. And I think for the first time they do understand that I need to save at a different place and don't rely always on insurance policies to pay me at a time like this. So I think people is going to use their finances or manage their finances totally different than they used to. And I maybe just wanted to say this morning I listened to a webinar of Ronel Jooste. And one thing that he said that actually scared me was that normally at a time like this, or when a country goes through a time like this, it takes them 7.5 years to recover, the economy to recover. Mm-hmm. Before we went into lockdown, we were already in trouble. Mm-hmm. So it's going to take us more than 7.5 years to recover from this. Mm-hmm. And I think whatever we do after this must be a decision and something that we do to keep in mind that this is going to take a very long time, and I need to have my finances and everything I do 100% in play.
Got it. Ronel, from your side?
Yeah, I think it's almost coming back to what Rene said right at the start, in terms of use this as an opportunity to also relook at your business model and also your personal finances, to start thinking about how can I ensure, or how can I mitigate the risk if something similar to this ever has to happen again. Because sometimes if you have a different business line within your business model, then you already diversify and you could potentially not be hit as hard as you were hit now, because the one line can still continue while the other one is maybe taking quite a big hit. I think just from my personal situation, obviously we own a guest house as well, and obviously the guest house is closed now, so there's quite a big impact. But on the financial side, you know, things have really picked up a lot. So they're just by diversifying, having maybe playing around in different industries, will definitely help you going forward. And also think in terms of your business, you know, how can I do things a bit differently going forward? How can I introduce something new into my business? But also looking at from a wider point of view in terms of start creating multiple income streams. And we always say that, but I think people do not really give it enough attention. So similar than an employee, you cannot only rely on your salary, because you can be retrenched tomorrow, or you can become disabled or whatever. The same with your business. You cannot only rely on your business income, because anything can happen in future. So start diversifying, you know, bring in some investment, some property investment, different type of things that will definitely help you in future. So I think that is from an opportunity point of view, but also to really spend some time on educating yourself about finances, both personal and business, because I think this period to me was in the financial education space. You could see that people were really panicking. It's exactly what Rene said in terms of people don't know what's going on in their finances. Even if you outsource your finances to an accountant or whatever, you as a business owner should still take responsibility to understand what's going on in your finances and to manage it, because your accountant or your financial advisor or your tax advisor or whatever is never going to manage your finances on your behalf. They will do their part, but at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to take control of your finances and to make sure what you in terms of insurance, those kind of things, make sure what are you covered for, what are you paying for, what is excluded, and what are my risks, and if something like this happen again, what can I fall back on?
I hear you. That's great advice.
Can I maybe just add, yes, somebody said the other day, this is not a time to save more. This is a time to look for opportunities to earn more.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think for the first time, diversifying your portfolio, that set of words means so much more than just your investments. Because everything that you do currently is an investment in the future of your business and the future of the livelihood of your employees and yourself as well. So with that, I want to thank you guys, and I want to say thank you for being part of this conversation. It's a difficult one to have, but I think we are all very hungry for financial knowledge, be it on a personal level or on a business level. And I think we are all, and I'll be the first to say it, quite illiterate when it comes to financial stuff. So thank you for educating us, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. I'll put both our guests' details down in the description below. So be sure to get in touch with them if you need to know anything. So guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Super guys, have a lovely day, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.